Hello and welcome to the Two Robbies Podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe, he's Robbie Earle, and this is our final.
Spreading out, mate. I'm spreading out now.
Spreading out a little bit.
Others have gone, just Robbie's left, as ever.
So this is it. This is it.
Well, we're at the Emirates Stadium, which was bouncing today. We sat in the observer seats just over there, and before the game kicked off, we talked about what if Arsenal win? What if City slip up? What scenes are we going to get here? We talked to the Premier League. They'd rehearsed the presentation yesterday, just in case. There was hope, there was anticipation, but City put a dampener on it. They do what they have to do. They win their game. They win the title. It's 4 on the spin for them. And Arsenal come very close, but very close, not quite good enough. Yeah,
let's start with Arsenal, Rob, because that's where we spent today. And I got to say, what a tremendous atmosphere it was in here today. And I know we have Lee Dixon on the broadcast today as well. And I'm going to... We spoke about it, Rob. You just get a sense of how big this club is. We weren't lucky enough to play at a club the size of this. But just today, when there were certain moments, when that West Ham goal went in, and there was a belief, the roar around this place, we're sat almost right in the middle of it, right by the pitch side here, was a phenomenal noise. But they never really played their best stuff.
Just to add to that, just to finish your point that you made, it's a really good point. If anyone gets a chance to look on, Declan Rice came to our desk and said, Lee asked him about what's it like for you coming to the club, and he's been at West Ham, it's a big club in London, but he just said this place is special, it's unique, there's something about it, and he said we are going to be winners. I get the sense that this group didn't accept that they were saying, but have realised that they weren't quite good enough this year. They've realised that maybe 2 draws against Villa, 2 defeats against Villa, a draw and a defeat against Fulham probably cost them.
There's not much in it.
There's odd points.
Yeah, not much in it. I mean, today, a little flat for most of it. I think Arsenal have played a lot better. It's not about that. It's about the way that they kept going, and they did get the goal to win the game 2-1 against a really strong, I thought, and a tough Everton side.
Defended well.
Just thinking of Arsenal going forward, and we did speak to Declan Rice. There's a sense, and I think I said to Declan Rice that 2019, Liverpool pushed to 97 points. I think they won it with 98. Then the season after that, Liverpool did find a way to win it. I mean, almost looking ahead to next season already. I mean, Arsenal have to be right. I mean, City win 5.
Everything's all there, Rob.
What do they need? What do they need to get past
some people keep saying the strike, and I'm really interested. I think I touched it with Tim on a podcast last week. If you go and get a 25-goal striker that would add something at the top of the pitch, could that affect some of your build-up, Rob? Could you not be as silky, or might he have to work a different way of playing? Because that 25-goal striker isn't a come and join in and involved in the play. Might be a guy who goes the other way a little bit and gets his goal. It would change Arsenal. Now, is there a chance it doesn't change Arsenal for the better?
Well, I think if they can bring in a striker that's going to get that kind of numbers, right, 20, 25, hopefully more, I think that is a priority if they can find that guy. And, of course, everybody wants to find that guy. Arsenal are going to have money. You know, they're doing great. They're going well. They're going to spend money. What I would say
what happens
is
to Havertz in that situation,
he competes with him as a number 9, or Havertz has to play somewhere else to be effective, Rob. What's he got, 13 Premier League goals, Kai Havertz? I think 13 goals after the one today. And it's interesting, I know we're going to get to Man City, but Pep sort of talked about how he builds teams. And he said, I see what the sporting director gives me, and I figure out my team based on those players. When I got Haaland, I'm not playing a false 9, I'm playing a real 9. So, to go back to your question, if they can get a central player to score 25 goals, maybe Havertz to score another 12 goals from a different spot, plus Saka's goals, plus Trossard and Martinelli's goals, that would make them have more goals from different areas in the team, and I think that would be a great way of doing it. But that's easier said than done, Rob. What other areas in Arsenal do you think could they... You know, when you look at City, Rob, and, you know, the little Bernardo Silvas and Phil Fodens, and do they still lack that extra bit of quality in the squad?
There's an argument maybe in the squad, but Timber, we saw played today, will come in.
He looks good.
Looks a decent player. You know, we got Tomiyasu and White maybe for full-back positions. They're not bad at centre-back, although...
They're very good at centre-back.
Yeah, they've got the space. There's another midfield. Party's come in and done well.
Is there another wide player? Is there another... I know Trossard's backed up on the other side. Is there another wide right to back up Bukayo Saka?
I think what we've seen with Arsenal, the difference to to Manchester City is, they change a Doku's come in late on and change the game. They can bring a Grealish off. They can. That's where we've got to talk the numbers. We've still got to talk the numbers, haven't we? The depth of quality that Man City have. Let's move it on to City because we've got to talk about them, Rob. People were Arsenal fans were hoping that there would be a twist, hoping that West Ham would get a draw. I never felt it. I got to be honest, from the morning the Bex asked us, what do you think? I said, City will get it done, mate. That's what they do, Bex. Whether it's their football, whether it's Earle and Haaland day, whether it's De Bruyne day, whether it's just will and fight that they showed at Spurs, they'll find a way to get it done, and that's what they've done.
They did, and I think West Ham United are the 4th worst defensive record in the league. You go at home with that record on the line. I just couldn't see Man City not doing it. Phil Foden has been the biggest story of the season. His emergence this year, Rob, last year was great. Before that, he was finding his way. We're seeing the best Phil Foden now. And, just on the 4, it is hard to try and express how different it must be. We had Lee talking about it early on, who's won 2 top-flight titles for Arsenal, and saying that it is unthinkable that you can keep going again every single season, plus doing well in the Champions League.
They've won a treble.
Treble last year. They got a great chance of another double this year against Man United in the FA Cup final next weekend.
That's got to be the drive of the manager. I know ability, I know squad, I know all that. You can have all those elements, but if you haven't got the drive of a manager, mate, at the top of the tree, who's making sure every day, every bit of training, jumping on people, I don't think that happens, despite all the quality you've got.
Plus his tactical acumen, Rob. We've talked about it from the first year he was here, from false nines to inverted wingers to full-backs to centre-backs going into midfield. He changes things every year, and I think that's what makes him a special coach, with that drive and determination.
I wrote a line today, and it was that line that we go back to his very first season. It was, will Pep change the Premier League, or will the Premier League change Pep? Do you remember when people were saying...
Well, I've got another one on
that. And I said, and just change the Premier League. Rob, I watch League One, League Two games now with inverted full-backs. Pep's changed English football, and there's a young generation of coaches who are coming through, and the Rob Edwards is maybe one of them, but there's a few lower down the leagues, Rob, who are starting to coach and have more possession of the ball than we've ever seen. Goalkeepers playing out. He has affected English football in a way we won't really recognise till he's left the English game.
Just preparing for this weekend, Rob, I looked through a few articles and I saw something in 2016 where Man City, as his first season at City in the Premier League, and Leicester City kind of beat them up a little bit. They beat him up a little bit, and it was 4-2. And Pep was asked some difficult questions about, your players didn't seem to tackle too much, and what are you going to do about it? And Coach Pep kind of laughed it off and said, I don't coach tackles, and he got a little bit ridiculed. And there was time, then people there around the game, Rob, was saying that you can't come here and play a tiki-taka and expect to play teams off the park. He's done that. He's absolutely done that. From seasons after that. What's it now? 6 and 7, 6 and 7, 6 and 7, 4 in the last 4. I mean, it's incredible. We do have to, and I think we've done a good job at times, Rob, of just mentioning the charges against Man City, because I get it where people say, well, yes, but. It's
hard to separate the two things now in some respects, Rob. I think the moment you talk about the football, and we will eulogise about him and what they've done.
It's still there. It's still there.
It is still there, and we're hearing from the Premier League that things are in place. We're hearing it might be, though, later on this year.
And then the decision next year, it'll be heard in the fall and then decided this year after that. There'll be an appeal, but I think we've got to get to that. I think everybody wants to get to that as quick as possible, to put that to bed, or to think about what they've done in the past. So we always try and mention that, because I know people feel strongly about it, and rightfully so. There's a lot of charges there.
But it is important to say 4 in a row, mate. It is incredible. And just before we sort of wrap up, we've got to do a quick one today. We've had a long day. Jurgen Klopp, mate. Jurgen Klopp,
absolutely.
and his final day in Liverpool, the 1-2-0. I mean, I wrote my line that we were talking about every clubs, and I said, he walked in the normal one. He said, like, he didn't want to be... And his left is a legendary one. He's a legend of that football. There'll be flags. There'll be remembrance of what Jurgen Klopp did at that football club for the next 20, 30 years.
Absolutely right. I mean, he turned the club around, took it to the very top of English football, took it to the top of European football in a way that will never be forgotten. With the emotion, with the celebrations, with the hugs, with the cuddles, with the sometimes the rants at media, and the connection that he forged with the with the Anfield crowd all over, particularly the Kop, of course, with the fist pumps, is something of legends. And I got really good friends that are incredibly big Liverpool fans, and it's a really emotional time. And I think it's right that we maybe end this podcast and this season with that kind of respect for this guy that did an incredible job.
It's interesting as well you say that, because the other person who would probably agree with what we're saying is Pep Guardiola, who said Klopp made him and his team better because he was the team that pushed Manchester City, really, for all that they've done over the coming time.
Absolutely right, and there's not many that's done that. We see Arsenal do it right now. But yeah, amazing season, mate. It's been a pleasure working with you as ever, and we look forward to next season.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.